Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Today we continue with our topic on green flags in men. I hope you had a chance to listen to the previous video from last Sunday on the same subject. We'll just continue, and if not, I will put the video in the description of this one, so you will be able to watch them both. So let's continue. I also hope you're doing well with the eclipses right now. So we had an eclipse last, when was it, on Tuesday, and then we'll have another one next Tuesday. It will be a lunar eclipse. So I hope you're kind of observing yourself, observing the situations that happen in your life, the people that you meet, and all that. All right, so let's get to the green flags in man. And so the next green flag that I really consider in man, the green flag for me in man is when a man is proactive. So when he's not afraid to do actions, and yes, he might be sometimes wrong in his actions. Sometimes maybe those actions will be just useless, chaotic, not needed at all. But I really love when a man is action oriented, because it shows true masculinity. Even if a man was not born fully masculine, let's say he was born with a lot of feminine planets, at least he does develop masculinity, exactly what he needs to develop. So I love that. I actually know a couple of feminine men that were born feminine, in a feminine energy, but somehow their parents, I guess, push them into sports, and they're very much into like martial arts and this and that makes them masculine. Yes, of course they have the feminine traits, but at least it makes them more focused on actions and on the results. So I love a man who is focused on actions, who is proactive, who is the one who's like, let's do it, I'm up to anything. So the one who is not afraid to do actions, the one who is okay to get out of his comfort zone. It is important. If a man is not like that, then there is thank you, then there are some kind of issues, not necessarily with him. Maybe he's just some kind of issues with his energy or whatever else. So again, a man who is proactive is a big green flag for me. I really love that. Again, I'm not going to be participating in all his kind of actions, and maybe it would look a little bit overwhelming, but I would appreciate that in a man. The next one is so a man who is normal looking. So for me, it's a green flag. Now let me explain to you. Look, I live in Miami. People here, they look after themselves, and I go to the gym, and I see a lot of people who go to the gym as well, and I can tell you who is masculine, who is feminine. So the majority of men who are in the gym are usually feminine. And why do they go to the gym? I applaud them that they do kind of bring the masculinity in them, but still it's not enough. So they do go to the gym, they try to kind of to bulk up, to become bigger, but that's only to cover the trauma. You see, they're very vulnerable inside, they're insecure inside. That's why they're trying to have this kind of bodies. So anybody who is on steroids or whatever, who is looking like a huge like I'm not sure, like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. I mean, this is not my type. I'm not going for those guys. I don't understand why it's considered even beautiful. I like a man who is lean, who is toned, who has strengths, but who is normal looking. So I really appreciate that. Now a man again who is not, so I wouldn't go for a man who is thin, like he never did anything in his life. I wouldn't go for a man who is not who is maybe chubby. That means that he's feminine, holding a lot of energy inside, doesn't know what to do with it, scared probably, not confident. I wouldn't go for a man who is super bulky, because again, he's trying to compensate for something, and it will not work with me. And I knew men like this. Lucky for me, I always go for kind of handsome guys. So I knew men who were like, I really tried to date men who were like really taking care of their own body, who are in the gym all the time. And this is another problem. They're super vain, so they're trying to kind of all they care about is their body. Again, it's very strange for a man to be like that. Hi. And so I would not date a man like this now. And I try to date them, but again, there are a lot of inferiority complexes, a lot of insecurities in those men, a lot of traumas. They look big and bulky. Inside, they're like a scared mouse, and if you, so their whole personality is built like a sandcastle. You push it a little bit, or like a card castle. And if you just push that little structure, it will fall apart. So again, the physical strength does not indicate inner strength, and I would rather go for a man who is normal looking, but he has that inner strength, you see. And most of masculine men that I dated, that I know, they didn't look any particular way, maybe even a little not taken care of themselves, but they had that strength inside. They didn't have to compensate with a with uh, particular body that they work on. Now, don't take me wrong. It's not that I wouldn't want to. That I don't like a man who goes to the gym. I do, but the gym should not be an identity, you see? And it would be very scary. Well, I wouldn't. I don't know whether I would have friends for whom gym is the identity. I don't like fanatics of anything. So if somebody is going to the gym and this is all he knows, if I'm looking at somebody's Instagram and I see all his pictures are from the gym, I'm not even going to talk to that person. What I'm going to talk to him about, or her, it's the person is we created the identity around something. Unless you're a personal trainer, then okay. But for the most part, these people are trying to compensate for something, and I'm not here to work on their traumas. I'm here to, if I'm talking to a man, I want to talk to a man just because I like him, not because I want to heal him. That's not for me. And trust me, I knew so many men who are in the gym all the time. Every single time they have traumas. Every single time they're insecure. Every single time they're trying to compensate for something. I never met a man who were all bulky, all big, and he was absolutely secure. Absolutely, like I never did. It just doesn't work. So for me, a green flag is when a man is normal looking, when he just has a normal body, when he looks after himself. Obviously, he's not chubby, he's not too skinny, but he does not go to the gym because there is nothing better in his life. You see, it's you need to go to the gym. Everybody needs to. I go to the gym. I mean, it's part of life. I guess it's like taking showers, but I don't build my identity around gym as I would not build my identity around taking showers. So this is a green flag for me, and I hope it will be for you. Do not go for the guys that put their body as their cult. It's put their body as some kind of put their body on a pedestal. You need to take care of your body, but you could not be. That should not be the whole purpose in life. You see, usually there's some kind of insecurities, and if something goes wrong and that body will not be present, that person will fall apart, and you will be there to pick them up and put them together. You're not a mom for anybody, so don't. Overall, a healthy person should be okay with their bodies without improving it too much. I don't mind to, as I said, I like a normal looking body, a healthy looking body. I don't think those bodies are healthy looking unless he's trying to compete for, to participate in the competition. All right. So the next green flag for me is a man who doesn't talk too much. Why is it? Why is it like that? I will tell you why. Because masculinity is focused on actions. If a man talks, unless it's a cultural kind of thing, if he talks too much, then I will start doubting him, because masculinity is action oriented. So too much words will show me that the man is not ready to do actions. You see, if a man is texting me a paragraphs like this on and on and on, I already know he's feminine. That's already understood. If he's only texting, doesn't do any kind of actions, I know he's feminine. But if we're meeting and he keeps talking and talking and talking, it's either he has a lot of energy of fire, and he's just insecure. So I love men who don't talk much. I actually love everybody who don't talk too much. But for a woman, I can understand why it's happening. Femininity grows horizontally, so they try to expand as much as they can. So they try to build relationship with as many people as they can. Now, masculinity is not like this. So what's the point of talking too much? You need to do actions, and this is what I appreciate in men, when they don't talk too much. Now, again, if there is particular cultures, like I was in Italy, and a lot of men there, they talk loud, they talk a lot. But again, I noticed that a lot of them were feminine. So, and then Spanish men in Spain, in Italy, they're feminine men. So I don't, I guess it makes sense for them to talk so much. So the men that didn't talk much in Italy were masculine men. So I guess it makes a lot of sense. All right. So, but this is a green flag for me. I would be very cautious with men who talk a lot. I would be very cautious with men who try to convince me something with words, not with actions. Like there is a saying, you told me once, I believed you. You repeated, I stopped doubting you. And you told me a third time, and I knew you were lying. So if a man is talking about something, and he never does any kind of actions, then I don't even want to be next to him. Like, better keep it quiet at all than to be talking. Like, for example, you're dating a man and he's talking about the future, so he having this mirage about your future together, the kids, this and that, but there is no any movements. Then I wouldn't even listen. I would tell him, look, there's no point in talking about this. Let's do some kind of action. So a man who talks a lot is a red flag for me. A man who is not talking much is a green flag. And in my life, I noticed from men who I was dating, men who were my clients, men who, but overall, I just know, I noticed that the less a man talks, the more he does, and the more masculine he is. And I appreciate that. The masculine women are the same way. So unless they need some kind of validation, they don't really speak much. And I appreciate that a lot. I do value actions in everybody. I don't talk much myself in general. So it would be very strange if a man is just chattering like an empty bucket. I don't need this kind of loudness in me. Now, again, there are some masculine men, energy of fire, who talk somewhat a lot. This is normal for them, but usually those conversations have some kind of purpose. So they don't just chit chat just to chat. Their conversations are not based on emotions, and usually it's straight to the point. So that they do speak a lot because they talk to too many people, but these are usually not long conversations. Now, but a man who, like, for example, I have a neighbor here, and sometimes I go to the pool to read, and he's sitting there sometimes and talking on the phone. And whether I want it or not, sometimes I hear what he's yapping about. And I know, so I knew this guy is feminine from the start. I mean, you can basically, based on his appearance, you can see that he's feminine. It's fine. But the conversation that he's on and on and on are very, very feminine. It's like he's trying to convince, he's trying to put emotions in his words, and I don't know who's on the other side and who's listening to that crap, but it's a red flag, I would say. A green flag is a man who doesn't talk. All right, so the next one is, I even put over here, unless it's his culture, but then I met quiet, determined Italians. Yeah, I did. And those Italians were very masculine. I actually was very surprised. I met this guy, and he was very not like an Italian. He was observant, very quiet, and everything he'd say was held some kind of purpose. So he was straight to the actions. Let's meet later on. I met him. He was at I guess he was working. I don't know what he was doing there. And he was straight to the point. I didn't meet with him, but I liked how he approached me. And then he had my phone number, so he was texting me. And again, the conversation was very straight to the point, and I appreciated this. All right, so the next green flag that I love in men is ambitious man. I would be very cautious with men who are not ambitious at least in something, not necessarily in a career, but in something. So if a man wants to have a huge family and he's ready to support everybody and he's ready to do the actions, then I mean, people have different kind of dreams and aspirations. So an ambitious man in something is always a good thing, as long as those ambitions are backed up by the action. So if a man is just talking that he would like to go to the moon and never even and never even and never even read about how to become a cosmonaut, then or astronaut, I would be that would be a strange conversation. So, but an ambitious man means that he's masculine, means that he is in clean masculinity, that he wants to achieve. Remember, this is important for a man, and he will do anything to kind of to get to that something. I would love a man like this because that means he's going to keep himself busy. He has a life going on, so he wouldn't be clinging to me at all times. That means that he's actually excited about his life and about his whatever he's doing in his life. So it's always a good thing for a man. It's good for anybody to be ambitious, but for a man in particular, because masculine energy is vertical, so they need to achieve kind of to go up and up and up. So I would really appreciate a man like this with ambitions. Now again, ambitious man could be somewhat, I wouldn't say dangerous, but maybe a little absent when it comes to his dating kind of life. And I met a man like this who would disappear for like 3 months and then reappear again, like nothing happened. I'm like, where have you been? And he's like, oh, I've been busy. And I do believe that he was busy, but you can't just put me on pause like this. So it's all about having those particular boundaries. So again, I told him next time he disappear, this would be the end of our conversation. He never did disappear again. So again, you just need to know how to keep those soft boundaries, and how to explain yourself, how to show a man what you will and will not tolerate. So that's another thing. So again, a man who's ambitious is good. Do not be threatened by his ambitions. Like some women I know, they don't want a man to be too ambitious because then he's like never home, never with them. He has a lot on his mind. He's never available, so to say. But if you are important, he will find time for you, and he will be present in your life. But let him keep his aspirations and his actions for something. Let him do something in life. Let him stay busy before he will get himself in some kind of trouble. So do not be threatened by that. And I already gave you this example. I think I mentioned this once. I had this client, and he had a really amazing job, but he had to travel all over. He had to travel all over the United States, and then he traveled occasionally around the world. And his wife was very threatened by his ambitions. He was making really good money, and she really, and I can see, they had two little kids, and despite all her help, I mean, it's like she was always by herself. So at one point, she basically pushed him, and he got a job somewhere locally, and he was not traveling, and his income started dropping. And they start having problems and fights and this and that. So do not cut your man's desire to achieve some kind of greatness. Let him do that, and he will appreciate you for being next to him while he is doing that, and he will definitely reward you. Okay, the next green flag that for me in man, a man without crazy addictions, and I'm not talking about particular substances or drinks or I don't know anything like that. I'm talking about addictions in general. So some men maybe could be addicted to video games, or maybe addicted to hanging out with their friends, or addicted to gambling, or addicted to, like, there are a lot of really addictions. Now, why would be a red flag for me, a man with addictions? Because usually addictions are escape from the reality. So it's okay to escape from the reality here and there. But if you're doing it all the time, then you are absolutely not satisfied with your reality. And if you're not satisfied with your reality and you're not doing nothing, then I'm not here to try to save you. So usually, and I observed it. I observed it quite like I observed it through cultures, through countries. I I think before men used to escape to alcohol, to some kind of substances that would make them, I guess, to just to avoid the reality. Right now, the addictions are so much so diverse, so you can be addicted. Like, for example, I was in Serbia and all that Balkan kind of, and then I was in Montenegro, Albania, all that Balkan kind of part of the world. A lot of people are gambling, they're like really gambling. There is a lot of I think every single every intersection has a place where you just can go and gamble, and I understand it's like a place where they hang out, drink tea, gamble a little bit. But again, it could be a real addiction. If a person needs to go and gamble to avoid the reality, then I would not be with the person like that. Again, here and there, I don't mind, but with somebody, it's like the same with religious fanatics or super spiritual. Again, a person is just trying to avoid the reality, and I'm not here to bring them back to that reality. I was actually dating a man who didn't exactly had an addiction, but who was escaping the reality any possible ways. And I was trying. I was very young, and I was very kind of, let me make a man and he will appreciate. He didn't. I was really pulling him. I was trying to inspire him. I was trying to kind of to make him like life again, to enjoy life, to look into life and be and kind of want to live, want to do something, want to maybe have a business, something. And you know what? I exhausted myself. It's not worth it. It's not worth to drag a man out of his escape. Let him stay in it. He has parents. Let him do it. This is another one. I was dating a guy. Then we broke up, but he was still in my life here and there. And then he got addicted to something really serious. So I was trying to help him, but it's not really my job. It's not my job. He's not my child. And basically his parents stepped in, and they took him back to his country or wherever he was from. So again, it's not your job to save a man, to try to motivate him. Maybe you can look into what happened in your relationship that a man is trying to avoid the reality. So for example, you like I know what happened in our relationship. I was not happy with the guy. He understood that he could not make me happy. Instead of leaving me and living his life, like focusing on himself, he tried to be present in my life. He understood that I don't really want him, so he was escaping this. So if your man suddenly got some kind of addiction, I mean, what is he escaping? What is so hard and heavy in life that he's trying to escape? I would look into this. This is hi this is something that I would look into. Now otherwise there is no really point in saving a grown-up person. A grown-up person should be able to save themselves. So again, a man with no serious addictions is a green flag for me. A green flag for me. And usually any mature person would be like this. I don't know, like, thankfully in my life I don't have anybody who has any kind of addictions. Yeah, I have men who play video games sometimes, but it's so rarely, like once in a while when they're with friends. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I really don't care. I have games on my phone that I play sometimes. So I don't mind. Yeah, of course, I have friends that go out and they drink and they party. I mean, that's fine too. I mean, who cares? Like, if it's not a whole life, that's fine with me. But I saw in my life men that were really addicted to certain things. Like, for example, I had this client from my previous career, and he was addicted to adrenaline. So he was doing, and he was not making money on it. I understand if he would be making money on this kind of dungeon. He was married too, so he was just an adrenaline junkie, like you say. And he was not just jumping from the airplane with the parachute. No, he was doing crazy stuff. He would go to some kind of dangerous places. He was trying to survive once in a somewhere, I don't know, some, I don't want to speak bad about it, but in Asia, in some kind of like really rundown city, he wanted to survive there. So he's really looking for this kind of spice in his life, and his wife is always so worried about him. And yeah, but that wouldn't be for me. Anybody who is like this wouldn't be for me. It's kind of strange. Again, if he would be making money on this, if he was like there is a couple of those guys that are risk takers who like create shows, and then they get money for it. Okay, I understand it's like part of the job, but just to avoid the reality, that would be no. All right, so the next green flag for me is a man who doesn't speak about their exes. um, Uh, so a man who does not mention their exes all the time, and who does not speak bad about the exes. This is like a magic green flag for me. I hardly ever met man who would be like, "Oh my God, my ex was such a," like who would really bash the ex partners. That's strange for me. I don't speak bad about my ex partners, and some of them were not so good, but I chose them for a reason. So there must be something good in them for me to choose them at one point. So what's the point of me right now talking bad about my own choice? So I wouldn't appreciate when a man also speaks like this. It also shows that a man is not really healed from that, from whatever happened, right? So and he's just trying to, I don't know, to find somebody who will sympathize. But again, I'm not a therapist to a man, so I don't really need to listen to that. And I would not respect him if he will try to speak back to me. And let me tell you something. When I was very young, I met this guy, and he seems like to have a very bad experience with his ex-wife, really bad. To the point that she divorced him, took everything he didn't even know, and he left him with nothing and disappeared. He never saw her again. I don't know how that's possible, but that's okay. That's possible. But I don't believe in this. At that point, I felt really, really bad for him. I really was sympathizing with him. I really was like, how could it possibly happen? But as I grew up and I became more mature, I started studying energy. I realized that it's never one-sided. Never. There's always two sides, and usually both of them are somewhat at fault. So there should have been some kind of signs. There should have been some kind of displeasure on her part. Like something there was there was clues, and if you weren't able to see those clues. So at one point, I mean, we're still friends with him. So at one point we were talking and we had this deep conversation. Everything doesn't happen to me often, but still. And I told him, I said, I think you're mistaken about your ex-wife. I think there was. So we started talking. I started getting the details from him, this and that, and I was able to convince him that she was not that bad of a person. Now you see what I'm saying. But that time he was my friend. I didn't mind to listen to those stories. He never really actually remarried. So again, you see that trauma was staying there with him. But right now, when I meet a man and he starts saying something bad about his ex, that's a huge big no for me. If he speaks bad about her, he will speak bad about me. I mean, what kind of man would do that? I mean, where is his strength to and control and some kind of respect for his ex-partner, no matter what she did to him? I mean, I'm sure she had her reasons, and I would appreciate if a man would keep it to himself or discuss it with his therapist, not with me. And I definitely don't want to hear it. Now, I also would not want a man to speak much about his exes at all. And masculinity is usually like that. Masculinity, once done, is done. They are not going back and forth if they're truly done with somebody. So if a man constantly brings his ex, that's a red flag. That's yeah, I don't bring my exes. Nobody should, I think. I mean, if you're ready for a new relationship, you should be focused on that new relationship. Don't bring past in the future. So that's what that's what I would not, that's who I would not date. So a green flag for me is a man who doesn't speak about the exes, and when he does mentions, maybe sometimes, happens, he only speaks somewhat neutrally. If he's speaking like if he's really bitter, then the trauma is still there and he's not healed and he's not ready. He will be projecting that pain onto me, and I will try to kind of to make it up to him for her. I don't want to be a rebound kind of girlfriend. So I do not date this. Like sometimes I could ask, why are you single, and he'd tell me, oh, I'm just single. I broke up with my girlfriend. That's fine. I'm like, okay. Why did you guys broke up? And he's like, I don't know. It just happened. That's fine with me. But if you will be like, oh, you could imagine she took all my money, this and that, then I don't know. I will be cautious, especially if he will bring it up again and again. No, a man is a man. He needs to kind of bear his losses with strength. You see, if uh, yeah, he if I buy a lotto ticket and it's not a winning lotto ticket, I'm not going to sulk on it and tell everybody. I'm just going to bear the losses the best I can and move on with my life. If a man is not doing that, then I wouldn't want to be next to him, because this is how he's going to. Every loss in his life will be a problem, you see, and I don't need this. I don't need a baby whom I need to sympathize and always feel sorry for and always try to encourage to try again. It's not for me. So that's another green flag for me. A man who doesn't talk about the exes, or when they mention, they're absolutely cool about it. I mean, I would not want a man to stay in touch with his exes. That would be strange. Again, unfinished relationship. But that's another story. All right. So the next one, and this would be strange, but for me, a green flag is a man whose car and his place of living is almost empty. Why would I? Why would I want that? Unless he's renting that place and that place was set up for him by before he moved in. It is a green flag for me, because that shows the true masculinity. True masculine men are not very high maintenance. They can basically sleep on the floor. They don't need much for their happiness, and they are focused on other things. Now, if a man has a perfectly set up apartment, the car with the I don't know, some decorations, something, it shows that the man is feminine. And as you know, I don't date feminine men. It also shows that the man is very attached to his place of living or his car. And again, I don't want to compete with neither of those. So I would be very careful with men who are like this, who like. I didn't know the man like this, but I had a friend who was dating this guy. He was this so particular about his car. Just so you understand, he had plastic, like little like covers on the mats in the car, which is fine. But sometimes when the weather, it was in New York, when the weather was really bad, and sometimes it got dirty, messy, the snow, this and that, he would ask you to take off her shoes before getting in the car. Just imagine this. I mean, what kind of freak is that? So, and she was dating him for some time. The same was in his apartment. Like, you couldn't eat in that apartment. You have to be very. I mean, the guy was obviously OCD, but still, I would look into this. Usually, men like this, they're very, very attached to the place of their living, to the car. It would be very hard for them to change, very hard for them to try something new. You probably will not. He would probably never welcome your interference in his interior kind of design. Which for somebody like me, I mean, that would be perfect, because I really don't care about this stuff. But still, I wouldn't want a man to be that focused. I would rather a man to be focused on something else than on how to make his place even more cozy, even cozier. So No, this is a green flag for me. If I come to a man's place and it's clean, but it's empty, there is no decorations, no pictures, no nothing. He has one fork, one knife. I would really like a man like this. That means that the man is he's open to something new, and he would welcome somebody who can come and bring that coziness into his life. Again, if a man is living in the apartment, if he rented it, that's different. It probably was already set up for him by somebody else. The same with the car. A masculine man is not attached to his car. Feminine men are. Masculine men are not. A car is something that drives them around. Yes, they like cars, but they are not as attached as some feminine men. I knew feminine men and how they love their cars. They would put little covers on the seats. Like they would always clean it. It's just a little too much. This is not the true masculinity. True masculinity is people who are busy. They're busy about doing something in life, and they don't have time to sweat the small stuff, to worry about that his car is not clean enough or something. I mean, obviously he should take care of it, but not to the point that the car becomes a priority over everybody and everything in his life or his apartment. So again, if the car is absolutely empty, just if the apartment is absolutely empty, for me it would be a green flag. That means that the man is focused on right things instead of sitting and you see, a man who is prizing himself on his apartment and the interior of his apartment, he will want to spend all his time there. And no, it's like a man who has a boat. If he has a boat, he will want to spend all his weekends on it, and I don't do that. So no, I would rather have a man who has absolutely plain apartment or house. I have this friend, a friend, an admirer. At one time, I was in his part of the, Florida, and so I stopped by. So I left the car in his driveway, and then went to eat. So while I left the car, he's like, "Let me show you my house." I'm like, "Okay." The house is huge. So I went inside. I looked around. It looks like he just moved in a month ago, and I'm like, "When did you bought it? When did you buy the house?" And he's like, "Well, like 12 years ago." 12 years ago. I mean, what was the house? Wait, there's no hardly any furniture, anything. He's like, "Oh, I don't have time for that." So you see, this is true masculinity. The guy is really masculine. He's focused on making money, on expanding his business. He has a house. I mean, has a big bed, a big TV. I guess what's important for men. He has all the new appliances and everything, but he's just not. He's not focused on buying pillows and and nice, cute furniture. So and that was really admiring. I like that in men. I like that, and I think this shows real masculinity. Okay, so the next one is I really love men who are optimistic, and this is a green flag for me. A man who is a complainer, whiner, a big red flag for me. Why? Because masculinity overall is optimistic. Masculinity is not attached to nothing. You see, so if a man is energy of fire is very optimistic. They can do anything. They can accomplish anything. They're focused on actions. They don't believe in failures. Now if a man is energy of air, those are very focused on the vision. They don't have emotions. How can they be complaining like they do complain, but not like that. They can say something that they can fix that whatever they said. So if a man is complaining, whining, everybody's bad, nobody understands him, this and that, it's bad. That means that he's not feminine, that he's not masculine. He's probably feminine and in dirty femininity. I don't need a man like this. I don't even have friends who complain. Even my clients who come, they don't really complain. They say what the situation is, and then we decide how it's going to be fixed. But if a man is complaining, I mean, what is he? Who is he to what's the problem? He needs a mother, then I'm not going to be. So a man who is optimistic, is a big green flag for me. I love men like this. I think every man should be in theory like that. And Oh, I also put over here, if a man is masculine, but he is not optimistic, then he has some kind of damaged placements in his natal chart. So, for example, maybe Saturn is blocking his sun. That means that he will be always doubting himself, doubting his abilities. Or maybe Saturn is blocking his Mars, his action. So he will always be afraid to do something, and that would kind of hurt him inside, and he would be complaining. So I would look into that. Again, there's nothing you can do about that. So it's better to avoid a man like this. I mean, what are you going to do with him? Validate his ego all the time. He will be complaining. You're like, no, you need to believe in yourself. That's what his mom was supposed to do when he was little. Right now, it's a little too late. And unless you will become his mom, um, there's no point in being next to this man, because if you will become his mom and you will validate him, you will get that confidence, boost that confidence in him. He will leave you at one point because you are taking the role of a mom, not the role of a woman. So I wouldn't be with a man like this, a man who complains with no reason, and all the time, and doesn't do nothing. No. Like, I knew this man, he was the energy of air. And energy of air, masculinity overall is not patient. And so we're staying in traffic. And he, every time we're in traffic, every time he complains, he's like, I can't believe why am I supposed to spend this much time of my life in traffic? He's like, I have the money, I have the time. Why am I wasting all this in traffic instead of me enjoying myself? Like this. And I understand him. He was never complaining. The only time he was complaining when he was in traffic, because I guess he was impatient and it was bothering him. Look, when I'm in traffic, I'm complaining myself. So I understand this. But when you're complaining about your parents, about the place where you were brought up, about the country, about the political situation, economic situation, and you're not doing nothing, just complaining, that would not do. It's not right. Masculinity in itself is very optimistic. If you are not at least somewhat optimistic, then you are either not masculine, or you are or again, you have some damaged masculinity in you, like Saturn or Pluto blocking you. So I don't know what to say. But then on the other hand, Pluto was in good placements the last few decades. So everybody who I am dating should have a good placement. Either Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. These are all strong placements for Pluto. So I'm not sure why would the man be be a complainer. So like that. I mean, maybe many generations back, when Pluto was in Cancer, okay, or when Pluto was in Virgo, okay, they were scared a little bit. That's fine. But right now, or Pluto in Libra, blah. I mean, I understand, but right now, everybody should be kind of focused on how to fix something, and not focus on poor me. Everybody's so mean, and like, do not date men like this. Do not. You will think that it's a good thing. You will kind of comfort them, and he will appreciate. No, he won't. You will comfort him and validate him, and then he will leave you because you see him at his weakness. So again, green flag for me is an optimistic man. All right. So the next one is a man who is not afraid to take the responsibility. Let me explain to you something. So if I would have a choice between a man who has 3 kids from his previous relationship, and a man who is 60 years old, never married, never had a serious, never was engaged, doesn't have any kind of kids, doesn't have pets, does not take responsibility for anybody, I think I would choose. Well, I don't think, I know for sure, I will choose the guy with 3 kids. Ideally, neither of these situations are perfect for me, but I would rather choose the guy with 3 kids. Why? Because the guy with 3 kids is not afraid of responsibility. He's taken care of 3 kids from the previous relationship. He will be able to, like, his program, masculinity is programmed to take care of somebody. to care for somebody. Masculinity is not afraid of that. Now, if a man is afraid of that responsibility, then there is an issue. There is some kind of issue that in him. Probably he's just feminine. Feminine men are like this. They don't want to take responsibility for nobody. They don't want to care for nobody. They don't want to own anybody, anything like this. They just basically, they don't want to be too attached because they're afraid of that. So, and usually, this man, they're 50, 60, 70 years old and they're not married. They tell everybody that women are so bad, that it's so hard to find somebody. But in fact, it's them. They're afraid of commitment, and they're afraid of commitment because they're feminine. Now, masculinity is different. Masculine men are usually jump into kind of relationship almost right away as soon as they understand that the person is right, and they're not afraid. They're not afraid to try, even if it's a mistake, even if they will regret it. They would rather try and regret than don't try at all. You see, and I would choose a man like that. I would choose rather a man who made a whole bunch of mistakes than a man who is not who is afraid to do some kind of actions because afraid to make mistake. Again, he's feminine. I don't want a feminine man. And now, on the other hand, don't confuse a man who was kind of pushed into relationship and now kind of, so responsibility was pushed on him. It was not his decision. I knew a man like this. He was my client for a little bit, and he was. So basically, I don't know how it happened, with the grown-up person, but his ex-wife was very ambitious, and I guess she managed to convince him to get married, and they started having kids right away. But it was not really his decision. Again, I don't always believe what men say, but I know it was not his decision. Why? Because he was dreading all this. He was dreading that he had to pay child support. He was dreading even socializing with his kids much. Like it was not something that it was his choice. So he took the responsibility. He's paying the child support. He's doing all that, but he's not excited about it. He's not enjoying his kids. He's not enjoying this whole parenthood kind of situation, and he's afraid of building the relationship because he's afraid again that somebody will dump the responsibility on him again. So this is again, he was feminine. His ex-wife was very masculine. And she just basically did the actions, and he was just along for the ride. So that's that. Again, but if the choice is between a masculine man who enjoys his kids, who enjoys their responsibility, or for example, I know this guy here in Florida. So he is the only child. He came from his home country. He established himself. His parents are becoming a little older, so he brought them over here on the kind of to reconnect with the family. What is it called? So they have green cards. He bought them their house, and he's not sitting next to them all the time, but he cares for them. You see, he's not married. He doesn't have kids. He's the same age as I am. But I see that he's not afraid of responsibility. He takes care of his elderly parents. He takes care of his business. I see that he's capable of responsibility. So it's not necessarily a man who has kids from previous relationship. It's somebody who is not afraid of being responsible for others. I also knew in New York a guy who was taking care of his ex-girlfriends. I mean, I don't know why he was doing that, but I guess it was giving him some kind of satisfaction. So what he was doing, he was if they need help, he would send them money sometimes. He was leasing cars under his business name for them. He was doing this again. It showed me that he was not afraid of responsibility, and that's a good thing. So I would choose a man who is like this, who takes care of a whole bunch of people and enjoys that, over a man who doesn't want to take care of nobody, just all by himself. 60, 50 years old, and he still doesn't want to commit even to be a boyfriend, just date somebody. And I would choose a man who is not afraid of responsibility like that. That's a green flag for me. It shows that a man is answering for his actions, and he's enjoying doing that. So if he's taking care of others, chances are very high he will take care of me and anybody who comes with me. So That's a good thing. Okay, the next one is a man who is a risk taker. I think this is the last one, no? Yeah, so I would date a man who is a risk taker. Now, I'm not a risk taker myself much, but then I'm not masculine, so that's okay for me. I am not. I could not do this. I'm not masculine, but I love men who take risks. Really, it's very admiring. Like sometimes I watch these videos on TikTok. They come out on my For You page. I don't know why. The men who are snowboarders, right? And they're jumping and flying, and the things they do, and I'm like, my heart is on skipping beats because I'm watching all that. But I admire them so much. I mean, I'm just like I'm so inspired by that, like really, really inspired. So I love when a man is not afraid to take risk, and you don't have to jump in from the mountains to impress me. I mean, as long as the man is not afraid, is not afraid to do anything, is not can risk it. If he wants to open a business and he's like, okay, let me try, let me do it, that's admiring. Or if he's like, okay, let's move this, let's go to live in another state, okay, this is admiring too. You see, it helps me because I'm not a risk taker. So if somebody is a risk taker, I kind of will go along, so to say. And I love that in men. It really helps me to admire them. I'm really inspired by somebody who's like that, who's not afraid to try something, who's not afraid of failure, who's brave enough just to go and talk. I was talking to this guy, and we speak in my language, and I didn't know whether he knows English or not. So we went to a restaurant, and he was not afraid to speak, even though his English was not so good, but he was very brave, and he had no problems talking. I mean, he was actually getting angry with the waitress that she doesn't understand him instead of being angry with himself that that he does not know English that good. Now, he could have easily asked me to make an order. I would have done it. I did it for other people. So it's like, but he didn't. He took a risk, and there was high chance that he will look silly, with his poor English. But yet he took a risk, and I was admiring him for that. I was admiring that he was able to speak up for himself and for us. And you see, the situation is not really that risky, but for him it was a risk. There is a lot of people um, who wouldn't do that. All right, so I think that's it on the green flags. Let me sum it up really fast. Again, if you have something to add, you can add. But for me, I think this is the like major green flags that I would look into. Man, like. And I think everybody should, because these green flags summarize that the man is masculine, and we should all go for masculine man. Really, I don't know why would somebody go for a feminine man. I understand, like, only women who go for feminine men are women who are either masculine, so they need to accomplish themselves, so they need some kind of pushover who they can just control and guide around, or they just want a feminine man because the feminine man is empathetic, so he will feel sorry for them, he will like comfort them, so they're looking for a mom kind of figure. You shouldn't be doing that. Every woman deserves to have a man who is strong, masculine man. Yes, it wouldn't be easy to build kind of a connection with him, but at least you will admire him. At least you will be excited to see him. You will always be somewhat nervous when he's around, and that's a good thing. That means that you will be pushing yourself more and more into femininity, and that's where the development comes. So let me sum it up. All right, so the green flag for me is a man who is proactive, not afraid to do actions, who actually is embracing the actions over sitting talking or overthinking. That's always a good thing, again, because it's, I guess, opposite to me. Then the green flag for me is men who are normal looking, who not who are not fat, chubby, who are not super like skinny, who are not like bodybuilders. I mean, I like a person who is normal. That just shows that the person is content with themselves, and this is a good thing. And then yeah, I wrote over here. Bodybuilders, they usually compensate for something. They have a lot of traumas. Chubby guys are usually feminine, and the skinny guys are usually insecure. So I am not going for none of those. I just normal looking guy who takes care of himself and doesn't make a big deal out of it is my green flag. This is so funny because so many times a guy who has like this perfect big body, and he's like, "Oh, you don't like it," and they're so surprised when I say, "No, I don't." It's just such a hit on their ego. All right, so the next one is man who doesn't talk much. Why? Because masculine is about action. So if a man just talks, I know he's not much serious. And also, I know that he doesn't like to do actions. I don't need a man like this. This is just waste of my time, his time. What's the point? Then I like men who are ambitious. I would not be with a man who's not ambitious, and I would be okay with him maybe not spending so much time with me, not dedicating so much time and effort to me, as long as he has something going on in his life. That's always a good thing. I also would be when ambitions are backed up by actions, though. You see, just because he's dreaming about something and never does nothing, it's not ambitions. This is just this is escaping reality again. I also love men who are optimistic because masculinity itself is optimistic. A man who is a complainer either has damaged energy in his natal chart or he's feminine, in dirty femininity, because femininity itself is not pessimistic. Dirty femininity is, though, very pessimistic. All right, so a man who's not afraid to take responsibility is a green flag for me. Again, I would go for a man who has a whole bunch of people feeding off of him than a man who is just shutting himself out to anybody. That's he will the same. If a man is not used to take care of anybody, he will never take care of me. And it's not like I need him to take care of me, but I would want to know that he's capable of that. You see, if he is not ready to take care of anybody, chances are very high that if there is a difficult situation, he will just bounce. And I wouldn't want to be with a man like this. Okay, so then another green flag is a man who doesn't speak about their exes, or when they speak about their exes, it's usually something neutral, nothing too particular. Again, because I'm not a therapist to a man, I'm not going to get him out of his traumas, of his problems. It's not my job. I'm not, you can say that I'm that I'm selfish, maybe, but I'm not doing this. I did it many times already. I'm done with that. You have issues with your ex, fix them, then come back. We're not talking. And I'm very firm about this. With the talking about it, he brings up his ex. I'm like, I don't want to talk about this. But you don't know what she did to me. I really don't care. Funny thing is, I would be on her side because for the most part, I mean, if she did it to you, I mean, whose fault is that? So like that, I'm always on the side of women. I guess, lucky for me. Okay, so man, another green flag for me is a man without crazy addictions. Any kind of addiction is escape from the reality. For anybody, it could be different addiction, though. You see, some addictions are not even seen. There are people who just, I don't know, just be binge watching some kind of series for days and days and days and avoiding reality. I mean, as long as it's not too long, if it's, as long as it's not the whole life, like how that this is an addiction. I told you already before, I used to, so I don't drink alcohol. I never did drink a lot. But I remember one time I drank a little bit red wine and I mixed it with warm water. And it really calmed me down. And I slept really good. It was just really just amazing thing. I was calm. I could accomplish what I needed to accomplish. And then I slept really good. So I started doing it every single evening. And I realized that it was somewhat an addiction. because I was looking forward to finish work so I can come home and drink my warm wine with, with warm water. So I would calm down. And I understand that I have to stop with this thing. And again, I was never a drinker. I don't drink now. But at that time, I got scared. I got scared because the happiness of my life was that glass of wine with waters. Again, I won't be with the man who is looking to that something that he's addicted to, as I was looking for that wine with water in the evening. He should be, everybody should enjoy life, look forward to something in life, not to try to avoid it or live through it just so they can get to whatever their addiction is. Addictions, again, could be different, could be gambling, video games, like if it's excessive, could be maybe going after women all the time, trying to score with women. I mean, overeating addictions as well. So they could be different, and I wouldn't, I don't do that. Again, I'm not a therapist to anybody, especially not to men I'm dating. And one more, so a green flag for me would be a man whose car and whose place is almost empty. This shows that the man is masculine, focusing on other things, and he's not attached to his place or his car. And this is, for me, it's a good thing, because I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want a man who's so focused on his apartment that he wouldn't even let me change anything if we were living together, or he's so focused on his apartment that he doesn't want to go anywhere because he loves his apartment so much. So it's not. This is usually feminine men, especially man energy of Earth. The apartments are usually perfect. They decorate them. They like have everything. The curtains perfect. The furniture is all matched. Like they really look after their places, and no, it won't work with me. And the last one is a man who is a risk taker. A risk taker shows the true masculinity, shows pure, clean masculinity. A man who's not afraid to do actions. A man who can take risk, maybe then regret about it, but he still can take risk. Who is brave enough to do that is always admiring, no matter what he's doing. I mean, I understand that some risks are silly and maybe not like they don't bring no kind of value or anything, but I would really love a man like this. I would really love a man who can take a risk. All right, that's it for today. Let me know whether you agree with me or not. What are your green flags? I would love to hear. That's always an interesting subject when I'm talking to my friends. I mean, well, I think I could say that our green flags, I guess because my friends listen to my videos, our green flags are very similar. If you notice, I didn't mention anything like a green flag for me would be a man with property or a man with a large bank account. These are not necessarily green flags. I mean, this is the preference, yes, but it's not a green flag. A green flag is something that I would want. These are particular qualities that I would want to see in a man. You see, it's usually feminine men have some kind of property because they need security so much. They just need to buy something and settle in something to feel secure and kind of put roots somewhere. That's not always something that I would want to have. All right, so that's it on men and the green flags about them. I wanted to just to kind of repeat what I said in the beginning. Observe yourself during this next week. There will be a lunar eclipse on the 2nd or the 3rd, so depending where you live, I guess. Look, lunar eclipse is not like a solar eclipse. When it's solar eclipse, you want to do actions. You like bursting. It's masculinity, right? So it's masculine, like extremely tense energy that needs to come out somehow. Now, lunar eclipse is always feminine, so it's inside. It's that kind of energy that's brewing inside, and you don't know what to do. So since it's going to be in Pisces, on Pisces Virgo axis, you might get a little too emotional, and the closer we come to the eclipse, the more emotional you will be. You will see Pisces is emotional overall. It's very much about being within itself, but it's not only emotional, it's kind of very deep psychologically, so you will start having some maybe fears, maybe you will have some kind of doubts, you will start thinking, over analyzing, you will be like brewing inside. Let it be, observe yourself, see what you're thinking about, what is it bothering you. Write down all those fears. Would be good if you would be working with somebody, maybe you do, so discuss it with them, because the energy is so saturated, it will come out, to the surface somehow. It needs to come out. You just need to make sure that you don't do any kind of you don't do anything you don't do any kind of rush decisions or rush actions. Observe and see what will happen. Especially it would be good if you wouldn't do any rush decisions, because it's going to be Mercury retrograde starting the 26th of January. So again, don't rush into anything because in a couple months you will be probably like, oh, why did I do even that? What was happening there that I pushed myself to do that? So again, observe yourself, observe your thoughts, observe your emotions. It's an emotional time. Lunar eclipse is always emotional time. It's inside, it's like you don't know, you wake up and you're worried and you don't know why you're worried, and you're like, something is, it's like the fear is, it's like something drags you into darkness and you need to face it. So again, there's always, after that darkness, there is always a breakthrough, so that's a good thing regardless of what is happening. So again, enjoy it. Observe who you're meeting, observe what people say to you. Usually during this time with all this energy, it's good to people don't just come. Everybody who comes in this time comes for a reason, and helps you to understand yourself and helps you to feel yourself better, I guess. All right, that's it. Let me know if you need my help. I also go through my development during this time, and I don't mind. I mean, obviously, we all need to do this. You can't grow in your comfort zone, but yeah, but it's not always easy. All right, that's it. That's it on the green flags. Next time we will discuss something else, something different. Enough talking about men. Again, observe yourself. We'll maybe talk about lunar eclipse next time. Do not buy nothing. Do not start nothing. You are green flag. Do not start nothing too major because of the Mercury retrograde. Again, the sign of Pisces, and Pisces is very ruled by Neptune. It's very kind of, it's like you're in the mist. You don't see exactly what's happening, and you're just trying to go through it, and you're getting confused. You're losing yourself, and because you feel like you're losing yourself, you're losing that ground, and you start doing actions that might not be the best actions for you right now. So again, proceed with caution. Observe yourself instead of doing actions. Observe, and then once the mist will disappear, then you will be able to do the actions. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you by TikTok. I will talk to you next Sunday at 11. And oh my God, I didn't even look at the comments, but I guess I was glancing through them. Bye, YouTube. Thank you for being here with me. Let me know about your green flags. Let me know what you think about the green flags that I gave you. I would love to hear that. It's interesting, honestly. To tell you the truth, the green flags for me in man, changed throughout years, honestly. When I was preparing this subject, I was looking into, and I was like, a few years ago, this wouldn't be a green flag. This wouldn't be a green flag. I think most of them would not be a green flag. But if you think deeper, if you understand the real concept of masculinity and femininity, you will understand that that this is would be a much healthier relationship. You will have a much healthier relationship with a man like this. All right, that's it. Bye, everybody. Enjoy your Sunday.